How's it going? Adam Drake here, and today I'm going to talk and share some information about fuel line routing. Also, talk a little bit about some tips with fuel line and different brands of fuel line, and also your fuel tank mounting. So, I'll change the camera angle, give you a little bit of a closer look, but just to go over some simple things that can make your tuning a lot more consistent and just more reliable, consistent results at the races. Okay, so here we have my MBX8R, and the first thing I'm going to go over or talk about is the fuel tank mounting. So as you can see here, I've always run my fuel tanks very loose. I've had some guys think my fuel tank is going to fall out of the car. Obviously that's not the case. But there's a couple reasons for this. So I'm sure you've had it happen to where you come in to refuel your car, you open the lid, and right as you get the fuel close to the top, fuel starts kind of splashing, spilling over. Now, that can be just because the idle's a little bit high, but it also can be if the tank is mounted too rigid, because then the vibration kind of goes through the chassis, the tank posts into the tank, and it'll just make that fuel vibrate and want to spill out. So running the tank loose kind of reduces or eliminates that spillage. Obviously, if you put too much fuel in, it's going to spill, but when you get close to the top, it doesn't transfer that vibration. The other thing is, with 8 scale, we run on tracks that sometimes have really, really big jumps. And the cars can flex, especially if you have a really hard landing or if you case a jump. And if the tank is mounted really rigid, as the chassis flexes, it's also going to flex the tank. Well, the tanks are two pieces that are sonic welded together. And if there's enough flex, the tanks can break at the seam. So running the tank on the looser side will make the tank also more durable, less chance of breaking. So if I actually kind of pick up on the tank, you can just feel it start to kind of move a little bit. So I use a Flashpoint flathead washer so that it basically kind of supports the rubber grommet, but I'll run the screw down to where it just starts to put a little bit of pressure on that grommet, and then I'll back it off to where, again, it just kind of ticks back and forth just a little bit up and down, and then it's really loose. So the next thing is fuel line and pressure line routing. So I'm sure you guys have seen, I've always tried to make the fuel line and pressure line routing as short and clean as possible. And that's for a number of reasons. So first would be, when you have a lot of excess line, there's more chance when stuff moves for that line to kind of come unclipped or get caught somewhere that it shouldn't be. So sometimes it can be stuck between the tank and the pipe. I've even seen where people have had the lines pop off and it gets stuck in the gear mesh. So I always make sure to glue the fuel line clips onto the tank. So you'll use a file. I use just like a little nail file, and I will scuff the tank and the clip, and then I will use super glue. So J-Concepts or ProTech tire glue, glue that to the side of the tank. Because again, this is a really, really important thing. It seems super simple and basic, but if the fuel line comes disconnected or the pressure line gets caught somewhere, your race is over. Another thing that I do on the pressure inlet nipple or the pressure nipple on the tank, and also the inlet nipple on the carburetor, hopefully you can see here, but I take a small piece of the fuel line and I cut it, and then I will slide it over needle nose pliers, stretch it, and then put it over the line so it works as basically like a hose clamp. Some guys will use zip ties or different clips. I found the fuel line method to be the best just because there's basically no chance of it cutting. Sometimes the zip ties can be sharp, and when you're opening and closing the lid and this line is getting bent, you don't want anything sharp to potentially cut it. Again, you can use zip ties, but I found the fuel line to just kind of work the best. So again, these are just some tips I wanted to share that will hopefully make your nitro program a little bit more consistent, engines keeping a better tune, and that then turning into better race results on the track. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe.